Coming up, the key to making better decisions. And then, is quiet quitting over? Layoff fears have workers back to the hustle culture. And then I'm going to coach you up. Let's go. Helping you win at work and in your personal life. This is the Ken Coleman Show. All right, Decisions. I've always been a guy who likes to dive into the decisions. Decisions don't freak me out. I like to dig, but I know that a lot of people aren't wired that way, and so I wanted to talk through decisions and a decision-making process that I think will help you, because our lives are the sum total of the decisions we make. The decisions we make daily, decisions we make early on in our lives and manage those decisions. Decision making, man, it's the ultimate guide or filter. As you look at someone's life, hey, you're going to make this decision one day. You're going to make this decision one day. You're going to make this decision one day. And then we look at the decisions we've made. So our decisions guide us. We're guided by decisions we have to make. And then we are, for lack of a better word, graded by the decisions we make. In any industry or any walk of life, your past decisions can affect you. Obviously, they can haunt you. They can hold you back. So, decisions, small, medium, and large, must have discipline attached, or in other words, decisions are best made with a process. And so I'm just going to give you some basic stuff here. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but there is a matrix called the Eisenhower matrix. And I don't know if we're throwing that up on the screen. We are. So you'll see this. And so I'm just going to walk you through this. So you'll see when you look at the matrix, and if you're listening, the first, this is a quadrant, so you got a square, 4 parts. If you're listening, up on the upper left side is number 1. This is your greatest priority. This is do first. The second quadrant, top right, is schedule. The third quadrant, lower left, is delegate. And the fourth quadrant, lower right, is don't do. Now, let's walk through this. Here's how I worded these, because I live my life like this. I think this is a great matrix. It's just a general matrix. But I word these a little differently, Alex. Instead of do first, it's must. I would label this as, what must I do? This is daily. This is weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. What must I do? The must word here is very important that we get the emotion behind this. I must do this. This is non-negotiable. And so that's why it's called do first. But to me, it's an attaching an emotion to the things before you. Because I find that when I attach emotion, it gives me sharper decision making. Because I go, all right, now if I'm going to put this in the must category or do first, to me it's like, okay, this is prime time, baby. I'm limited in my time. And so I need to focus on this. This is super important. By the way, guys, if you want some marriage advice on this, if your wife's got something important she wants you to do, it always goes in this one, must. All right? It just does. Let me just help you out. If you're going, well, Ken, what kind of things do you put in there? What Stacy wants. Thank you very much. Now, the second quadrant is, I call this should. It's not must, it's not intense, but it's, I should do this. And so in other words, if I want to go exercise and Stacy's got an errand that must be done, I promise you, Stacy's errand is first, and I'll find out a time, I'll find a way, I'll schedule some exercise time. The third category, I've got this labeled as could. So watch what's happening here. I've got must, that's do first, high priority. I've got should, it's important, but not urgent. And then I've got could. There's way more on the list that's under the category of must and should. And so this falls below must and should, so we're going to put that under there. I could do it, but I don't have to, and I shouldn't. It's way below. So you know what I'm going to do there? I'm going to delegate that. I'm going to delegate that. So as a leader, I'm going to delegate that. Very important for leaders to really get this. For high achievers, get somebody else to do it. Pay somebody to do it. Let me give you an example. Joe's been to my house. I don't have a big yard. So when it comes to cutting my grass and doing the weed eating, the weed trimming, all right? This is my favorite example of this, all right? It wouldn't take me that long to cut my yard. I mean, we're talking 12 minutes probably max, pushing that lawnmower around. Then you got to get out the trimmer, and I'm doing all that. So, I mean, probably 30 to 45 minutes of focused attention. It's not a lot of time. However, does it fall in the must? No. Does it fall in the should? Nah. Falls under 3, delegate, which is could. I could do it. Or I could pay a guy who's got a small business and I could contribute to his family and give myself some time back. So, that'll do it. Now, some of you go, oh, Ken, how come those 2 teenage boys didn't do it? Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you why. Okay? I'm training them in a way that they're going to also make this decision down the line and be able to pay somebody else to do it, number one. But number two, they don't do it as good. And so now it's a blood pressure issue because I got to stand out there and watch them do it and make them get out and do it again and deal with all the griping and complaining. Folks, I'm a smart guy. All right? That's costing me time too. The 4th category is don't do it at all. It's not urgent. It's not important. Shouldn't even be messed with or dealt with. Get over it. You know what that falls under? Commenting on the haters or the trolls. I don't do it. It's not important. I'm not going to do it. Now, experts on this, if you look at this quadrant, say don't put more than 8 tasks per quadrant. You can kind of, I'm not going to say that's hard and fast, but I will tell you this. This type of decision making, or you could take a philosophy called the Pareto principle, where he said put 80% of your effort into the top 20% of your priorities. Whether it's the Eisenhower matrix or the Pareto principle, what I'm extolling to you today and promoting and challenging you to do is you have finite amount of time. And I will tell you this, if you're in your 20s or 30s, can I tell you what's going to happen in your 40s? It's happening to me. You know what matters to me more than money? Time. I mean, everybody can make more money. I like money. I like money. I like money. I like money a lot. You know what I like more than money? My time. My time with my family, with my kids, people that I care about. Like, I get more out of the time I spend with people than the money I make. As leaders, as people that are going after it, you have limited amount of time, and to be who you want to be, you better learn how to prioritize your time. So those 2 decision-making processes will help you. Coming up next, is quiet quitting over? You have a personal brand. It's the image or impression others form about you based on your interactions. And whether we realize it or not, our personal brand impacts opportunities to grow in our careers. That's why our team created the Personal Brand Survey. It's free, and it will give you personal and professional feedback so you can own your strengths and uncover any blind spots holding you back. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/brand. Of the people, by the people, for the people. I am self-appointed man of the people. But I think the label fits. You can judge for yourself. I am not beholden to polls. I don't need your vote. I'm just here for you. I want you to discover and do what you were created to do. How does that not make me the ultimate man of the people, I ask you? I'm not looking for your vote to stay in office. You get to decide whether you're coming to watch this show or listen to the show or not. So there you go. I have one goal and one goal only: to help you make more money and experience more meaning in your work. Period. There you go. Alex, I think it's indisputable. I need a belt. I need a championship level, like boxing, wrestling belt that says the undisputed man of the people.
The people's champion.
That's it. Right. The people's champion. That's why the boxing gloves. I'm fighting for you. See, it could all come together there. Be the smallest championship belt you've ever seen. I had a colleague once that used to use a belt like that as a prop, and I put it on backstage once. You could have wrapped it around me twice. So there you go. All right. Is quiet quitting over? No. All right, next segment, please. No, I kid, but no, it's not. I've got an article here from Business Insider, and this is a very interesting opinion piece. And Alex, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Aki Ito, the author of this article, is claiming credit for the quiet quitting phenomenon. Did you notice this? He did not notice it, folks. I'm one up on Alex, the producer, today. This is very interesting. But before we break that down, is quiet quitting over? The answer is no. How am I so certain? I'll tell you. Quiet quitting isn't a new phenomenon. Therefore, it ain't over. And I got bad news for you. It ain't ever gonna be over. If you look at the Gallup data, they do a poll on the status of work every year for I don't know how many years. And for at least the last 10 years, the numbers have been somewhere in the 85%. Excuse me. No, that's not true. 70% of people are disengaged at work. And there's new data out that says 15% of people are happy. The rest are not happy. So you look at both of those numbers, it's not a new revelation. And when you see a poll by Gallup year in, year out, every year coming out saying people are disengaged at work, what that means is quiet quitting. They're doing the bare minimum to keep their job. So therein lies the reality that this is not a new phenomenon. So is quiet quitting over? No. Well, this is by Aki Ito from Business Insider. And they're talking about, the author's talking about Justin, who helped spark the national debate that's been raging over quiet quitting. After speaking with him and other recovering overachievers, I wrote about how hustle culture, thanks to the job security granted by the roaring economy, was giving way to a coasting culture. And then a popular career coach on TikTok riffed on my story. So we got to chase that down, Alex, just for our discussion later. It's a link in this article. And so I guess a popular TikTok career coach coined the phrase quiet quitting. And then it became a phenomenon. Everybody talking about it. Not a new concept, but all of a sudden never said that way before. Now everybody's talking about it. Well, by the time this became the it phrase on social media relating to work, Justin was already shifting gears. As the economy began to slow in the summer of this year, he noticed as a recruiter that his clients were scaling back their hiring plans. So this guy, Justin, he's seeing, he's a recruiter. He's seeing the trends. So he goes, uh-oh. Performance reviews were getting tougher. He saw some of his colleagues leaving, getting let go. And this is a quote. It made me nervous. It hit me that I'm the only one who works in my family. So I decided to play it a little more safe. Today, Justin, the OG, the original gangster of quiet quitting, is back to going above and beyond. He's working 50 hours a week. Now, this is where I get a little cranky. Okay? Going above and beyond does not mean you're working longer hours. Let me say that again, because I think we need to get this. Going above and beyond does not necessarily specifically mean you are working longer hours. And that's where all this quiet quitting got me irritated, because it was glorifying snowflakery. I don't want to work too hard. I'm no longer going to work 60 hours a week. Well, first of all, you have the option in America to leave that kind of nonsense. If you're working 60 hours a week, start leaving. I'm going to help you leave. Call me, take the Get Clear assessment, get my book, From Paycheck to Purpose. I'll get you out. But stop griping about it like you got no choice. It irritates me, Alex. He's going above and beyond. He's working 50 hours a week. I got news for you. You could work 50 hours a week and still be a quiet quitter. Above and beyond is about quality, not quantity. Let me say it again for you thicker-skulled folks. Going above and beyond and doing excellent work is not measured by quantity, the hours that you work, the amount that you work over and above 40 hours. It is measured by the quality of your output, period. Stop the victim thinking and all the victim, I work so many hours. Well, then stop working for those bad bosses. All right. Job openings are down 15% since March, record high. Workers are sensing the shift in the mounting headlines about company layoffs. We're seeing that. Reporting on those headlines on this show. The budget cuts starting to limit raises and heightened scrutiny of their productivity. We've been talking about this. Companies watching productivity. Now, this is why things are changing. 6 months ago, you could be a quiet quitter, right? Because productivity didn't matter. Leaders, bosses, managers were worried about losing you because they couldn't replace you, so they let you get away with sloughing off. At the end of 2021, human resource managers reported they were going to manage out fewer than 2% of low performers, compared with the usual 5%, which means they're going to let the slackers hang out because the national layoff rate plunged to a two-decade low. Now, today, things are different. Take Facebook. Boy, oh boy, Meta is in trouble. And I said they would be. I said on this show, Alex, I know this is not, I'm not trying to brag, but I was like, you change the name to Meta and you start talking about virtual reality, you're cutting your audience into huge, and they are, and they're losing big time. Well, they're laying people off. Executives at Meta have instructed managers to bucket 15% of their employees as needs improvement, meaning shape up or ship out, meaning you are on notice. If you don't get your productivity up, we're going to lay you off. This is Facebook. And so that has changed. Even Mark Zuckerberg weighed in. He informed his staff that he would be turning up the heat on performance goals to shed employees who couldn't meet those standards. Some of you might decide that this place isn't for you, he said. That self-selection is okay with me. So now people are calling this quiet layoffs. Good gracious. What's with all the freaking terms? Can we just call it what it is? It's what I said from the get-go. Things change. Dynamics change as to what a company will put up with. But can I tell you what doesn't change? Great performers. People who go above and beyond in the quality of work, they win. Even when you knock them down, they get back up. Let's not forget that, shall we? Let's be excellent. So you just landed the new job. Congratulations. You've made it past the interviews, and now it's time to onboard with excellence. That's why I created How to Stand Out at Your New Job. This free checklist will help you succeed from day one and may even help you get promoted. These practical steps set you up to add value, help your team win, exceed your leaders' expectations, and ultimately set you up for a successful transition. To get started, just go to kencoleman.com/new. All right, folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Headline from the Washington Post. They quit their jobs. Here's what they're doing now. Is the grass always greener? It's a good question. Let's go through a couple of this. I love this story, by the way. We're going to highlight some of these stories. So the Washington Post followed some people who changed their jobs, their cities, and their lives in what's been called the greatest reshuffling in the U.S. labor force, the Great Resignation. All right. So they highlight 8 Americans who quit their jobs last year. And so I'm going to go through some of these. So first is Brian Atkinson out of Atlanta. And he quit in March of 2021. He was a teacher. Now he's doing radio and podcasting. And this is what I love. There he is right there. Look at that guy. He's as cool as the other side of the pillow. I don't even know what he's doing. He's holding something up. It's a cool camera. I love it. All right, so this is what he says, though, and I love what he says. He was a special education teacher, and he said, I want people to know that quitting will not make your work life easier. This is a direct quote from Brian. I've worked probably 10 to 100 times harder doing it for myself than I did as a teacher. What? Well, wait a second, Brian. What about the famous phrase, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life? I think Brian would say what I say about that. It's horse, you know what? Brian's direct quote. I've worked probably 10 to 100 times harder doing it for myself. Why do you think Brian is working 10 to 100 times harder for himself? Anybody? Bueller. I'll tell you why. Because he loves it. And he loves where he thinks it's going to take him. So he's not going to cap his effort. Interesting, huh? I'm showing off today because I told you so. And this is a real person saying, I work 10 to 100 times harder. Alex, I can't help it. I think some people, they watch it, they like, Ken's just entertaining himself when he makes these statements. No, I'm telling you, this phrase, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, is the biggest load of crap that I've ever heard in my life. It's motivational drivel. It tastes terrible. It's like eating a rice cake. Let's see. What else do I want to go to? Let's go to Mercury Stardust, because why not? That's the greatest name all time. Don't you know her parents had a good time with this? Maintenance technician was her old job. She left in August of 2021. Now she's a content creator. And she left because she was a supervisor. Excuse me, she was a home maintenance technician at an apartment complex. And the apartment managing company told her to stop making TikToks. They served as home repair guides. And so, you know, she used it as all kinds of things. So anyway, now Mercury says... the content machine has its own drawbacks. My mental health has been at an all-time low. Keeping up with an online audience, a crucial part of boosting engagement and shaping an online personality, exposes creators to unrelenting criticism and hostility. She's adapting, using separate phone, social media, blah, blah, blah. Seeing a therapist, which is good. So here's the other side of this. There's no guarantee that when you make this move, that it's going to be better. The grass is not always greener. All right, next. Let's see. Let's go forward here. Amy Faulkner, 56, quit date December 2021. Old job nurse, new job, well, she retired. Now, I don't think Amy should stay retired. More on that in a second. This is a direct quote from her. I don't like to say I quit, I escaped. Ooh. 30 years in nursing. It was very difficult to leave her patients and colleagues. She renewed her license in July, not wanting to give up on a profession she loves. While she puts the odds of returning to a chaotic hospital setting at very, very slim, a clinic or pharmacy might do. There it is. So here's another side to this. This is a good move, and I love that Amy used the word escaping. Okay? Escape. And I love this is a toxic, or not necessarily toxic, but a very tough environment of the chaotic hospital schedule. She still loves caretaking, being a nurse, so she kept her license current. I love this move, right? I absolutely love this move. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to escape a not good situation. If the building's on fire, leave now. Don't wait for the smoke to come under the door. Building's on fire. Let me tell you what I'm doing. If Alex tells me this building's on fire right now, I'm gone. I'm out. You know? I'm not going to sit around and go, where are the flames? Anybody know where it started? What? Get out. Have a plan. Let's see. What's a lease? Thank you, Alex. By the way, you could just keep guiding me if you like, Alex. I like the teamwork. Elise Arukin, 29, quit date April 2021. She was a healthcare coach, now a software engineer. I love this story. Elise learned to code to support herself as a nomad, which means she wanted to kind of move and go wherever she wanted, to help her realize her dream of living out of a van and all the freedom that brings. I would suggest that she's eventually going to get tired of the van, but like the freedom. But see, again, I like this. Her financial situation has changed dramatically since landing a job as a software engineer. She doesn't have to worry about being able to afford her everyday expenses. She got a nice bump in pay, and she can help her parents who immigrated from the Philippines. And she did this in a 10-week coding boot camp, which is why I endorse Bethel Tech. Okay? Bethel Tech's a 9-week program. 9 months. Hello. Don't want to false advertise. 9-month program, but much more robust than this 10-week deal. And Bethel Tech grads are starting at $70,000, $75,000 or more and moving up very quickly. BethelTech.net/Ken, I believe, is the website. And you need to call them and talk to them. BethelTech.net/Ken Coleman. Thank you, Alex. BethelTech.net/Ken Coleman, and you get a discount if you're a Ken Coleman Show audience member. Okay, next. Let's see here. Damian Lawens. Damian Lawens. I don't know why I try to pronounce all these. It's a sickness I have. I'm hooked on phonics. Want to get my money's worth. Quit date September 2021. Old job, Taco Bell shift lead. Listen to this. New job, graphic designer. Look at that. Look at that. Damian with the cat. Looks like he's designing in his home. Look how happy he is. Now, that was a dude who was a shift lead in Taco Bell. Okay, no one's clamoring to be the shift lead at Taco Bell, but he did it. He did it to keep himself going. He said, I quit my job because I'd rather be a graphic designer than make tacos all day. Sure, makes sense to me. The 22-year-old started graphic design after a friend showed him an illustration he'd made using open source graphics editor GIMP, or G-I-M-P. I don't know what I'm saying. When a graphic artist, Lawens, followed on Twitter, announced that he bought a Tesla from his design income, he was like, hello. He sharpened his skills by making thumbnail illustrations for his gaming YouTube channel and earned commissions from other content creators to make theirs. Now, this is why I like this story. This ain't glamorous. He's still slapping tacos, slapping, whatever you want to call it. And probably both. Slapping a sloppy taco. All right? That's what he's doing. And he's got a gaming video channel, so he starts to practice the graphic design stuff, and it starts to make some commissions. So what happens? Gets some confidence, gets some traction. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So it can be done. Now, why do I highlight these stories? I'll tell you why. You can make the change. You can make the change. But we showed you a range. We showed you some worked out, some didn't work out. We showed you that some are in the process of working out, like Brian, who, he's still busting his butt to grow this thing. So understand, you can quit, but you better quit to the right thing. The opportunity's never been better, but it's not a guarantee. You got to be smart. I'm here to walk you through every step of the way.
You were created to fill a unique role through your work, but it can feel overwhelming to figure out what that is. That's why I created the Get Clear Career Assessment. In just 15 minutes, you'll get customized results that clarify what you do best, the work you love to do, and the results that motivate you. All this helps you discover what you were born to do. And you'll get a list of professional possibilities to help you in your job search. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/assessment.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. It is now time for our coaching session. I love to coach people up. Don't forget you can jump in 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Let's go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, home of the Brewers. Casey is there. Casey, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hello.
Hi, Casey.
My question, so I have a dream job of, I want to do wilderness therapy, field instruction.
Okay, whoa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Give me 20 seconds on what that is. That sounds really cool. I just want to understand it before you give me the question. What does that mean?
Yeah, so wilderness therapy, they take adolescents, teens, and like with depression, anxiety, and they'll use wilderness activities as well as like helping them with like art and music, and then they'll use trauma-based like yoga and mindfulness to help
That's awesome.
them. They'll go on longer hikes, and yeah.
Okay, great. All right, go ahead. I just wanted to know what that was. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a position within it called field instruction, which doesn't require like a therapeutic degree, but in their qualifications, they wanted either to have a bachelor's in anything or experience leading youth in like an outdoor mental health setting. And I didn't have that experience, and I was just trying to figure out the best way to go forth.
Yeah,
to
number
get
two.
Qualified and
Number two. Let's go get as many of those number two qualifications as possible, and I think you can do it quicker than you realize. It's silly to me, first of all, Casey, and you and I can't do anything about this, but I just, for my own, have to get this off my chest. It's silly to me that someone would, that one of the qualifications is a degree in anything, which is so stupid. You could go get a degree in macroeconomics from Harvard and not be any more qualified than what you're going to do with the number two qualification, which is actually just get out there and love on kids and be with kids. So I would be finding any way and every way to be doing that. Volunteer, part-time work, full-time work. It could be just leading teens on expeditions. It doesn't have to be the expert in trauma. It's just they want to know that you've got some experience working with kids in the outdoors. So I'd be going and doing as much of that as I could over the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm just trying to think of the best places to do that.
Well, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head Milwaukee, but I mean, who's taking, I mean, where are there camps, where schools? First place I would be thinking, okay, I'm thinking of a place here in Middle Tennessee where all three of my kids have gone. I think it's called Deer Run. I think it's a park. It's like it's a retreat, Deer Run. And it's, you know, it's a nonprofit and schools of all types and executives and blah, 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 blah. But it's a place where kids go for a day. And I would be working part-time for them or volunteering. You don't care. You just got to show a resume that, hey, I've got this experience, and this experience. 2 or 3 will probably do the trick.
Okay.
And just show them that you've got experience and passion for this. Because here's the thing. Not only are you going to get the resume stuff that you need for this job, but you might find the right connections there too, to where, you know, those worlds are all interconnected, you know? So the outdoor stuff, those people tend to flock in those, you know what I mean? So it may not be as specific as the trauma and the therapy piece, which you're very interested in, but if it's just outdoorsy stuff and it's like retreats and camps and blah, 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 you'd be surprised who knows somebody over there that goes, hey, we hired Casey for a part-time gig. He wants to work for you guys. He's incredible with kids. We hired him to lead the ropes course, and we've never gotten more positive comments from parents than when Casey led the ropes course.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now you're with me. Anytime somebody does that sound, I know that they're with me.
Yeah.
You get it.
I'm wondering, so one of the reasons I feel called to it is like, I do have some, like I've done lots of like mindfulness things. I read like psychology and like books like every week. I do like, I don't know like what degree I put those things in. Like I lived at a meditation center for a number of months. Like I've done.
You don't need a degree. You don't need a degree to do what you want to do with those kids. And I love that you're reading books. I would be listening to podcasts on psychology. I'd read every psychology book that was reputable. I'd become an expert on psychology. I read a lot of psychology books because of what I do here. I don't have a degree in it, but I read a lot about psychology.
Mm-hmm.
I read people's minds all the time on this show, not because I'm brilliant, because I've done my homework. And might I suggest, I've got a lot of experience now. I've done over 5,000 of these calls. So what you need is real life experience connecting with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take all that knowledge from those books and podcasts and stuff, and now you get some tactics and techniques. But that just makes the connection more valuable. Go love on kids, serve kids, connect with kids, and prove that you're great at it. You'll get this gig. Love what you're doing, man.
Did you know that recruiters take an average of 6 seconds to scan a resume? And that's if they ever see it in the first place. In fact, 75% of resumes are rejected before reaching a hiring manager. Listen, folks, if you want to get hired, you've got to make your resume worth noticing. That's why we created How to Write the Perfect Resume. This free guide will walk you through the 5 steps to stand out in the hiring process to get you your dream job. If you want to get started, go to kencoleman.com/resume.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, where we help you win at work and in life. Bridget's up in Fort Worth, Texas. Bridget, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Bridget. What's up?
So I have kind of a dilemma going on. I recently quit my job. After 5 years, I was in a toxic work environment, and mentally, I just could not take it anymore. So I basically was kind of forced to quit.
Oh, now that's different. You didn't quit.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you remember those old cartoons or old movies where they would show pirates and they'd put somebody on the end of the plank and they'd stick a sword at their backside and they go, "Walk the plank." Do you remember that?
Exactly.
Would you say of that person that they jumped into the ocean?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't say they jumped in the ocean. They were pushed into the ocean, so you were forced to quit. The question is why?
Very toxic environment, a lot of favoritism. I had reached out to HR multiple times.
You were a squeaky wheel, and they got tired of hearing you squeak.
Exactly. And it was a medical field.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of females, and basically my main concern was the patients and to make sure that the patient.
What's going on with all? What's going on? This has got some Real Housewives of medical offices feel to it when you said that, a bunch of females. What do you mean?
So just a lot of I actually need my whole show because it's kind of a long story, but
give me the best one. Give me the best juicy Real Housewives moment. I'm right. That's what it was, isn't it?
Exactly. But I try to be more of an adult about it.
Yeah.
And it did feel kind of like a sense of being in high school.
Oh,
and
boy.
Just a lot of
gossip.
He said, she said. Yeah. And I'm the type of person that if I have something to say, I try not to come off as confrontational, but I will try to clear the air. And, I really, really needed this position because I'm recently separated. After 10-year marriage, I have a freshman in college. Yeah. And I have two younger children.
What's the position?
It was a patient navigator, case ambassador.
Would you say that is a position that is very much in need in the healthcare industry?
Yes, especially
Here's the deal. We lick our wounds. I want you to learn some things. Because it's possible that maybe you created a little bit of the drama, but sounds to me like the drama was there and you wouldn't have put up with it much longer anyway, even if you didn't confront, right?
Correct.
All right. So what we learn is when you're in a bad culture, you cannot fix it unless you are the leader. So what
Correct.
we do is we're not going to put ourselves in an unhealthy culture anymore, and we're going to do our homework, and we're going to ask around. Hey, what's the office like? What's the culture like? How do people treat each other?
And I did that. And the funny part about it is that within the network that I was working in, this was the third position that I had transferred into.
Mm-hmm.
And I entered the position with letters of recommendations from providers, from nurses. So I came in with really high standards of the position. But once I got there, I felt like my coworkers were intimidated by my knowledge, my relationships with the patients, and it kind of all just dwindled from there.
So you think that you are the common denominator in this deal, or they're unhealthy whether you're there or not?
No, I believe that the department is the unhealthy department because I did not.
Well, here's my question.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm digging into. I told you need to be looking elsewhere, and your position is in high demand. And what you need to be doing is doing your double check, right? And going, all right, is this place a healthy environment? You go, well, Ken, I did that. So either they lied to you or you didn't do it well enough. Because I'm thinking forward here. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Do you think they lied to you and told you it was a healthy environment?
I believe so, but once I got there, because I knew the network, I knew what I was dealing with, and they seen how I was so attentive with my patients, I feel like they probably felt intimidated by my knowledge.
Yeah, but here's my point. I get that. But my point in helping you is I'm focusing on you going forward. And you going forward, you need to talk to people who actually work there, not just the leaders in the interview process. You need to find a way to, with your connections, go, hey, talk to somebody who works over there. What's it like? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can figure that out. All right? Now, the other thing I'm going to just caution you on, I'm not saying you did it, but I got a feeling that you need a coach to kind of go, hey, listen, in the next environment, you just go do your job.
Yes.
And you stop looking at everybody else. Not saying you did, but I'm saying you do your job. And don't comment on other people's jobs. Do your job. If you got a colleague who's not treating patients the way you treat patients, it's deep down inside of you to go, hey, you didn't handle that right. Guess what? It's not your job.
Correct.
Do I hear a smile on the other end of the phone?
I'm just a very positive person. And even though I'm in the situation that I'm in, I try to move forward now because I feel like I was mentally drained in that position.
You were?
Yeah. I'm trying to take a couple of months off just to clear my head. And
Can you afford to do that?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay, great. Then that's fine. I love that. But here's what I'm telling you. You need to know how you're uniquely wired and don't get yourself sucked into the drama. I think that you're a pure person. I think you are. I think you're honest. I think you're just. And I think that gets you into a little bit of heartache sometimes, and you're going to have to learn how to not let that happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew that. I could hear it on you. And I'm not knocking you. I'm not like you are virtuous. Okay? And not only are you virtuous, you are driven by justice. Am I still on the right path?
Yeah, that sounds very much like me.
So you take a virtuous person who cares about justice and they see a lack of virtue and they feel like they got to help correct it. And then what happens is what you're saying was intimidating, may have been intimidating, but I would suggest to you, and I'm your friend, Bridget. I'm wearing the Team Bridget t-shirt right now.
Thank you.
But I would suggest to you
mm-hmm.
that maybe you weren't intimidating, maybe you were irritating.
Maybe my positively way of being probably irritated people because everybody was walking around miserable around there, honestly.
There it is. So do you know what cockroaches do when you turn the light on in a room? You ever seen it?
Yeah, they scatter.
They go to the corner.
Yes.
You were sunlight. You were light. They're cockroaches. They run away from that.
Yes.
So you got to be careful, right?
Don't be too bright.
Be careful how you share your brightness, I think is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Listen,
how can I
the
do
sun,
that?
I just told you. Do your job.
Okay.
Don't comment on their job. Don't comment about your job in front of them. Do your job if you're in an unhealthy environment. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I'm saying. What you thought was being positive sunlight, which the sun comes out every day, was that obnoxious light on the phone when somebody shines it right in your cornea. You know? Yeah. I think you were shoving your cell phone light right in front of their face. And that's, I think so. And I'm not getting on you. What I'm saying is this. Now we focus forward. You are in demand. Take a little bit of time to get healthy, but you better do your homework. And I mean, you need to find ways to get to email, phone call, texts, Zooms, face-to-face coffees with people who work in these new offices because you got connections and you find some people who are going to tell you what it's really like. What's the culture? And then you need to learn about yourself. All right? And you need to do your job, do a really good job, which you do, and don't try to infect or affect anybody else in there other than the patient. Don't worry about the drama. Avoid the drama. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.